Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
I'm tracking a severe thunderstorm moving across Fayetteville right now, headed towards Sampson County. I'll track this for you and let you know who is in the track of this storm.
And this morning, we will get an update from the Wilson County Sheriff here on this case involving several shootings that ended in a murder-suicide. A look at the condition of the victims this morning.
And before the Paralympics in Paris begin, a little star-studded preview of the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. We're going to get you a preview of that and catch you up on the controversy with Jordan Chiles' bronze medal. A lot unfolding here today on WRAL News and Fox 50. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Chris Lovingit. I want to get over right now to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. There is a lot happening for a Monday there in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
We had enough happening last week, I think for the whole month. But here we go. This is not what we saw last week, of course, but we are looking at the potential for some damage to happen down in Cumberland County and over into Sampson County. Here's a look at the big picture. We have a few showers that are in the counties just south of Wake County. So parts of Johnston County, Harnett County in particular, just seeing some scattered showers and some isolated lightning. We had this cell just move across Fayetteville. It is now in eastern Cumberland County, headed over toward Clinton and central Sampson County. You can see where the heaviest rain is. There's been a lot of lightning with this. We've had some hail reported with this that would be severe hail the size of a quarter. We do have a level 1 risk that continues today in our southern counties, as well as a flood watch. There's just been so much rain lately. You can see that cell sliding eastward and dissipating within the next 30 minutes to an hour, and then a bit of a break, a lot of cloud cover, and in the afternoon, a few isolated cells pop up. We're not looking at a lot of rain today, but we do have a better chance of some thunderstorm cells tomorrow. This afternoon, we're going to put it at about a 40% chance. Hour by hour, it's going to be a warm day today. We warm up into the mid-80s by lunchtime. Highs will be in the upper 80s for this afternoon with a few of those scattered storms. We're also watching what's happening out there in the tropics. We have a new potential tropical cyclone number 5. I'll show you where that could be headed. Coming up, Ken.
All right, happening now in the WRAL traffic center, all new. We just got this in a crash on the westbound lanes of I-40 at South Saunders Street. Take a look at the congestion it's causing there in the southbound lanes of the westbound lanes of I-40. And this is the southern part of the Beltline this morning. Let's go outside and give you a live look at a camera at I-40 in South Saunders. You can't see the crash on this particular camera, but you can see the congestion that's building there on that south side of the Beltline. So keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out this morning. Elsewhere, we got a handful of slowdowns to tell you about, so to make you aware of what's going on this morning. This one in particular, coming in from the southern part of Wake County this morning, you've got Fayetteville Road, a huge backup there. That is Old Stage Road. A lot of you use Old Stage Road coming in from the southern part of the county this morning. If you have an opportunity, I would recommend using Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route to get you around that slowdown that you're going to see down on those lanes. We do have a disabled vehicle on Blue Ridge Road causing a little bit of a slowdown there in the southbound lanes of Blue Ridge and Wade Avenue as well. So again, keep that in mind as you're about to head out. We are seeing a bit of a slowdown on US 1 coming in from Wake Forest Road, adding about 6 minutes to your morning commute this morning.
A 6-year-old is in the hospital this morning, and there is a dire outlook on her survival. Authorities say that a man shot her and killed her mother and then shot and killed himself. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the Wilson County Sheriff's Office. Laura, you have followed this since it broke, and this morning we expect to learn more about the condition of that girl.
Chris, and this morning we have learned the man at the center of this investigation here in Wilson and Nash counties was just arrested last month for felony assault. So as we wait for this update here from the Wilson County Sheriff, here's what we do know. 3 people were rushed into surgery following that shooting yesterday, including the 6-year-old girl. This is a photo now that family shared with me of her mother, Kiera Massingberg, 27 years old, who was also killed yesterday. The family calling this an act of domestic violence. It all began around 5 a.m. Sunday on Weaver Circle in Sharpsburg. Detectives say Daquan Jones shot 4 people, then took his girlfriend Massingberg and the little girl. He dropped the little girl off, that is, with gunshot wounds at a home in Nash County before driving Massingberg to his friend's house. His friend described to me what he heard when Jones entered that house.
Pow. Pow. And then police, get down, get down.
Investigators believe Jones shot his girlfriend, then entered that home and shot and killed himself. Massingberg was found dead inside of his car in that driveway. WRAL this morning is working to learn how all of the other victims are doing. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Wilson County.
And this morning, there is still some flooding in lakes and rivers because of rainfall from Debbie. Several parks in our area are closed today, including Jordan Lake. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live there this morning. Kelsey, people are being told to stay clear of that area, at least until the water recedes.
Chris, exactly. So right now, this do not enter sign is out front of the recreation area for Jordan Lake. This closure was extended over the weekend because of high water levels. You just heard in our forecast a little bit earlier that we're under another flood watch again today. Now, people will not be able to have access to the walking trails. You can see water there all over a dock. Falls Lake and Carr Lake recreation areas are also closed this morning. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is watching water levels. Jordan Lake is expected to crest today or tomorrow. Then the floodwater will recede. At that point, officials can start releasing some of the water. State parks will continue to monitor all of this flooding. They could reopen the recreation areas as early as this Wednesday. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at Jordan Lake.
Durham Public Schools will have new leadership starting today. The new superintendent, Anthony Lewis, will begin his duties in that position. Lewis was appointed to the role in June. The district's former superintendent stepped down during protests over salary issues that closed schools multiple times this past spring. Lewis was previously a superintendent in Lawrence, Kansas. We're expecting to hear from him this morning about his official first day. We'll share what he says on air and on WRAL.com. In the race for the White House, there is an argument over crowd sizes and policy proposals. Vice President Kamala Harris held a sold-out fundraiser in San Francisco yesterday. She and her running mate, Tim Walz, gathered big crowds throughout last week. The crowds rivaled those of former President Donald Trump, but he falsely accused the vice president of faking her crowd size. Meanwhile, Harris promoted a new policy proposal that Trump says she stole from him.
We'll continue our fight for working families of America, including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
The former president first brought that idea to the campaign trail earlier this summer.
We are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
Trump also shared online that Harris, quote, just copied my no taxes on tips policy.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. L.A. is on the clock now, 4 years and counting on the clock, so they've got some time. But Paris, after the closing ceremony last night, moved on to cleanup duty today, and they are hard at it, trying to get some streets open, some of those metal barriers taken down there. As they clean up, keep in mind, some of these venues that you may have seen were used for several different events, like skateboarding, BMX, the 3-on-3 basketball, and breaking were all held in the same place. They just set them up in different ways, so you couldn't really tell that. But streets are getting back to normal. Quite a rebound from the Tokyo scaled-back COVID bubble games of 2021. There were no fans there. This time around, 11 million tickets. Nearly 11 million tickets have been sold for Olympic events and Paralympic events, which, by the way, start in Paris at the end of this month.
28th. And super sad breaking will not be returning in the 2028 Summer Olympics. A lot of great memes from that. Thanks, Jeff. The Olympic flame is officially extinguished, and with it, there is a lot to look forward to when LA hosts the Games in 2028. Athletes gathered in a packed stadium where the mayor of Los Angeles received a handoff of the Olympic flag. And Tom Cruise, right here, descending from the stadium roof to retrieve it. No lasers, promise. He then hopped on a motorcycle and started a pre-recorded journey to host the city of the 2028 Games. And just a reminder, as Jeff just said, the Paris 2024 Paralympics begins August 28th. And one of the final events of the Games, American cyclist Jennifer Valenti won her second straight gold medal in the women's cycling Omnium event. Get this, she is now the most decorated women's cyclist in U.S. Olympic history. Congrats to her. U.S. Olympic officials say that they will appeal a court ruling. This one, a lot of controversy. This is the one that resulted in American gymnast Jordan Chiles being asked to return the bronze medal. Chiles won the medal in the floor exercise finals after her coaches filed an inquiry to correct her score. Well, this placed her ahead of Romania's Ana Barbasu, but a court ruling found the inquiry was filed 4 seconds after the 1-minute deadline. 4 seconds. That means Barroso gets the bronze medal. A major wildfire is burning near Athens, Greece. Just ahead, a look at this damage that it is causing as authorities are working to control it. Plus, home ownership, it is becoming further and further out of reach for so many people. That is why we are explaining the new initiative meant to switch up the way traditional homes are built. Elizabeth.
And I continue to track this severe thunderstorm warning that's been in effect for a while. It still it's in effect until 8:45. This storm is now just south of Stedman, moving into the southern part of Sampson County. I'll show you what to expect.
Sanford, and happy Monday to everyone watching here on WRAL News. It's looking like kind of a gloomy morning as we start things. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. You know, it's been very active in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Elizabeth Gardner has been tracking what appears to be that severe thunderstorm warning there.
And we've been tracking this cell for about 2 hours. Meteorologist Chris Michael is here with me in the Weather Center this morning. This started west of Moore County, and it's just kind of cruised across our southern counties. The warning's still in effect. There's a lot of lightning with this. We've had a history of hail with this and the potential for some strong damaging winds. And so it's south of Stedman, headed toward Roseboro, and then down into the southern part of Sampson County as we get through the next 30 minutes or so. Here's a look at the big picture. We've definitely had some isolated showers in the southern part of Wake County. We have some rain in parts of Johnston County over towards Wayne County, and of course Harnett County seeing some rain, a little bit in Sanford as well. But that cell that has the potential to produce some damage is southeast of Fayetteville, as I mentioned, and moving over toward Salemburg and Roseboro in particular. So if you're there, just keep in mind, you want to give it about 15 or 20 minutes to get past you because there's so much lightning there and the potential for hail. We've had inch diameter hail, which actually means that that is a severe storm. One of the things that you see in severe storms, a lot of times it's wind damage, but occasionally it's hail, and the criteria for that is about an inch in diameter. So a live look at Fayetteville, where this storm just came through. We'll continue to have a few scattered storms later this afternoon. Tomorrow, we may even see more widespread coverage of storms. We'll potentially, behind this, see a drop in our humidity mid to late week, and we're also tracking the next tropical system. Why are we seeing all these thunderstorms? We saw them through the weekend in our southern counties. It's the proximity to a cold front, and tomorrow will add to that. There's going to be a disturbance that rides in tomorrow and brings us an even better chance for showers and storms. You can see things quiet down closer to lunchtime, and then some activity pops up again south and east of the triangle this afternoon. Heavy rain with that for sure, and the possibility of some wind damage. So we do have that level 1 risk around Fayetteville and Cumberland County, Sampson County for today. And we also have the potential for some flooding. So we have a flood watch in effect in our southeastern counties too. All right, we have potential tropical cyclone 5. It looks fairly weak as it moves across the Leeward Islands. And then eventually as it turns northward, becomes a category 1, then category 2 storm as it heads for Bermuda. And the computer models are all in good agreement. What does this mean for us? We'll likely have some erosion and high rip current danger, but we're going to have a high pressure system and a trough working together to push this over toward Bermuda and not allow it to make landfall on the coast of the United States. Here's a look at the computer models. They make that turn as we get through the next couple of days, and then by the weekend, it looks like it's moving up through Bermuda's Cat 2, which is, not good for folks there. It's soon to be Ernesto. That is the next name on the list, curving northward, and the rip current danger will be the biggest thing that we end up seeing. We're in the peak of the hurricane season, and right here off the coast of Africa through the Caribbean, a 40% chance of more development in the next couple of weeks, which is typical for this time of year. Tomorrow, a little cooler at 83. Our highs are in the 80s for the remainder of the week. And again, kind of hoping for that drop in our humidity. We'll talk about what that could look like coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now at the WRAL Traffic Center. We continue to monitor a crash that happened on I-40 westbound near South Saunders Street this morning. It's causing quite a bit of backup there, all the way back from South Saunders all the way to Lake Wheeler Road right now this morning. Taking a look live outside, we'll show you exactly what's going on. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us. You can see the congestion it's causing there on the south side of the Beltline. So just keep that in mind. I would recommend using the north side of the Beltline, particularly if you're coming in from Johnston County this morning. A couple of other trouble spots I want to make you aware of. This one in particular, coming in from all points south, like Moore County, Lee County, US 1 North, you're seeing right here the delays that it's causing this morning. I would recommend using State Road 540, get over the 64, and work your way back to US 1 this morning as an alternate route to avoid that the slowdowns you're seeing there on US 1. The other trouble spot this morning, coming in from southern Wake County, many of you use Old Stage Road, Fayetteville Road as well. You can see the crash that's causing this backup there. I was recommending taking Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route, but you can see a lot of people are doing that this morning, taking Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route. If you know of any local routes to help you avoid Fayetteville Road, I would recommend taking it this morning. A couple other things really quickly. Capitol Boulevard is a crash and falls of news at Capitol Boulevard, not causing any problems in that particular vicinity, but just watch for some police activity in that area. Also, disabled vehicle on Blue Ridge Road at Wade Avenue, not causing any problems for you if you're getting through Wade Avenue this morning.
Ken, thanks. Time now is 8:18. A major wildfire is burning near Athens, Greece. Authorities there say this fire has grown because of dry conditions and strong winds. Local media reports there say dozens of people trapped in their vehicles were rescued yesterday. Emergency responders continue to fight the fire from the air and on the ground, too. Police in Tucson, Arizona say more than 180 bullets were fired during a shooting that injured 4 people. This happened just before 3 a.m. yesterday. When police arrived, they found 3 victims. 2 of them had life-threatening injuries. Officers say that a 4th victim arrived at the hospital a short time later. Investigators believe this shooting happened during an argument between 2 groups, but no one's been arrested yet. And investigators are trying to figure out what caused this deadly home explosion in Maryland. The home was demolished and 2 people died. Look closely on your screen here. This happened in Harford County yesterday morning. That's northeast of Baltimore, if you're familiar. Fire investigators say a possible gas leak could be to blame for all of this. Authorities also say the people who died were the homeowner and a utility contractor. A home next door was heavily damaged and a woman was treated for injuries. Nearly 4 decades ago, a newborn baby was found dead in a dumpster in Riverside, California. And finally, police say they have made an arrest here in North Carolina. Detectives say DNA evidence led them to 55-year-old Melissa Avila. She's right there on your screen. She was found in Shelby near Charlotte. Investigators say she was just 19 when her baby girl died. Avila is currently in jail in California, and her next court hearing is next month. For many people, steep housing costs are putting the American dream of home ownership further out of reach. That's why there's a new initiative to change the way traditional homes are built. Here's Deborah Valentine.
If home is where the heart is, the ongoing affordable housing crisis impacting millions nationwide has the country looking like it may need a heart transplant.
People at the lower end of the income spectrum just having a harder time finding housing that they can buy and are much more in the rental market these days.
But together with his colleagues at Purdue University, Professor James Braun believes the Next House initiative could provide solutions. The program aims at uniting engineering experts to create a fully automated factory-built housing industry in the future. Unlike traditional forms of home construction, which can hinder the budgeting and timeliness of new builds, Braun says assembling homes inside factory settings can provide more financial perks for buyers.
You can imagine trying to build something on site and getting all the people together, coordinated to all the materials and everything. Doing it in factory is much more according to a schedule, can be done much quicker. There's an advantage of economies of scale in terms of purchasing.
Braun envisions a future where buying a home is as easy as going to a website and entering the stats of the home you want. That specific model would then be built inside of a factory and delivered to the buyer's land once completed.
You have to work with local people, too, for a foundation and all that. But you know what it's going to cost. You know when it's going to be delivered. You get all the features that you want.
One of the next steps for the Next House initiative is to create a large-scale phototyping and testing facility at Purdue.
Netflix has picked CBS Sports to produce its 2 NFL games on Christmas. The Wall Street Journal reports that Netflix will pay CBS Sports a production fee as well as provide promotional spots during the games. Netflix has a contract with the NFL to show games on Christmas over the next 3 years. This year's matchups feature the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers, followed by the Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans. UNC women's soccer coach Anson Dorrance, the only coach the program has ever had, is retiring. He's 74 years old and led the Tar Heels women's program to 22 national titles in his 45 seasons. The Tar Heels opened their season Thursday at Denver. Associate head coach Damon Nahas will be the interim coach for the team. It is the start of a new era for Durham Public Schools. Just ahead, how the district's new superintendent plans to move forward as he begins his first day on the job. And our area saw 7 tornadoes after Tropical Storm Debbie landed last week. Just ahead, meteorologist Chris Michaels tells us how the National Weather Service's quick process to rate those tornadoes.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good Monday morning. Your time is 8:26. I'm Chris Lovingood. Let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
This has been a long-term cell that has moved across our southern counties this morning. Been active for about 2 hours or more. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. It's moving into Roseboro right now. The warning expires at 8:45. What you're seeing with this way down in the southern part of our viewing area is a lot of lightning, some very heavy rain, the potential for some hail and strong damaging winds. You can see that moving into Roseboro and Highsmiths right now. These are moving pretty quickly here. So once it moves on by, you can breathe a little sigh of relief there in Roseboro, but you want to just hang out. There's a lot of dangerous lightning and heavy rain with this as it moves through.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we've been monitoring a crash on I-40 westbound near South Saunders. I think it's in the clearing phase right now, but taking a look at the major routes into the triangle this morning, you're seeing a 5-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest and US 1 as well. Otherwise, very little to no delay in some of the other major roadways. In Durham this morning, take a look, very little to no delays heading into the Bull City this morning.
Durham Public Schools will have new leadership starting today. It's the new superintendent, Anthony Lewis's first day. He was appointed to the role in June. The former superintendent stepped down during protests over salary issues that closed schools multiple times in the spring. And we're expected to learn more about a murder-suicide that left a 6-year-old seriously injured and her mother dead. Wilson County officials say Daquan Jones shot 2 people, then drove off with a mother you saw there and her child. The mother was found dead in a car, and Jones also shot and killed himself, according to authorities. WRAL is working to learn more about the conditions of the 2 adults in this case. Next on Fox 50, parks in our area are still closed because of lingering flooding conditions from Tropical Storm Debbie. Next on Today, Little Big Town and Sugar Land Rock, the Plaza.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for at least the next 15 minutes for the central and southern part of Sampson County. I'll show you how long this has been around and how much longer we may have to deal with it.
Being shot in a murder-suicide. This morning, the details of that horrific shooting that left her mother dead and 2 others injured, and the update we're expecting today. A lot that we're covering here on WRAL News and Fox 50. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood. We want to get back to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner because you just had such a very active morning there in the Weather Center.
It's been very interesting. This cell actually developed west of Moore County, and it's just continued to move across our southern counties. With it, we've seen a lot of dangerous lightning. We've had hail, the potential for some wind damage, and it just continues. But the lightning with this is really incredible. Lightning is one of the most dangerous weather phenomena that we have, and so if you can hear thunder, you're in danger of being struck by lightning. So if you're in Roseboro or Highsmiths, give this another 15 minutes or so till it moves by before you head out to work or head out to walk the dog or just to be outside. We take a look here. We start this 3 hours ago, and you could see this moving across Fayetteville and on into Sampson County. 3 hours. That is a very long-term cell. They don't normally last this long. And again, the warning expires at 8:45 unless it's expanded by the National Weather Service, which it has been expanded on and on as it holds together. We do, of course, have a level 1 risk for severe storms for today, and we also have a flood watch. We could see as much as 1 to 3 inches of rain with this. Some scattered showers a little north of there too. Parts of Harnett and Johnston County seeing some rain this morning. We'll likely have a few more cells that pop up later this afternoon, but the coverage isn't going to be great. Most of that's going to be in our southern counties again. Rain chances today about 40%. Here's a live look at Clinton, and Clinton is just north of where we're seeing the cell, but you can see all the cloud cover there. Temperatures are mostly in the mid-70s as you're heading out the door. 71 is our dew point, so it's a really sticky start this morning. We'll climb into the upper 80s for this afternoon. This may be one of the warmest days that we see. We're going to see slightly cooler temperatures for tomorrow, and coming up, we'll talk a little bit more about a tropical system that's likely to stay off the coast of the U.S. Ken?
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we continue to monitor a crash on I-40 westbound near South Saunders that's likely in the clearing phase right now. Take a look. You can see that backup that we were seeing just now has virtually dissipated. Let's take you outside and show you exactly what's going on. The westbound lanes are moving away from us. So more than likely that crash is definitely has cleared out right now, and you have no problems to worry about this morning. We do have a couple of slowdowns that we've been monitoring this morning for you that we want to bring your attention to. This one in particular was a real trouble spot this morning. They're coming in from the southern part of Wake County, but you can see that's completely cleared up, including Old Stage Road as well. Another trouble spot we've been monitoring, there was a crash right here that's completely cleared up from US 1, so nothing to worry about there, which is good news in terms of what you're looking at this morning. This is a disabled vehicle on Blue Ridge Road in southbound lanes near Wade Avenue. It was causing a bit of a slowdown, but not causing any problems for you this morning as well. Elsewhere around the Triangle and surrounding communities, we're seeing that backup on US 1 coming in from Wake Forest. So if you're coming in from Wake Forest, pack in some extra time this morning because you are running into a bit of a slowdown coming in on US 1 at Capitol Boulevard.
A 6-year-old is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after authorities say that a man shot her, killed her mother, and then turned the weapon on himself. WRAL's Laura Levine has followed this story since it broke yesterday, and she brings us this update this morning.
While covering this case yesterday, we asked the Wilson County Sheriff's Office several follow-up questions. They told us that they had to work to confirm several other details, and they say this morning we will get that update. And as we wait, we know 3 people were rushed into surgery following that shooting yesterday, including the 6-year-old little girl who's now fighting for her life. Take a look at your screen here. This is a photo that family members shared with me of her mother, 27-year-old Kiera Massingberg, who was killed. The family calling this an act of domestic violence. It all began around 5 a.m. on Sunday on Weaver Circle in Sharpsburg. Detectives say Daquan Jones shot 4 people, then took his girlfriend Massingberg and the little girl. He then dropped the girl off with gunshot wounds at a home in Nash County before driving Massingberg to his friend's house.
The suspect was located in Nash County near a gold rock, and when officers pulled up, there was 1 shot fired. Law enforcement made entry into the house and found 1 subject that was deceased inside of the house.
Investigators tell us Jones shot and killed Massingberg. She was found dead inside of his car. He then entered that home on Jamie Road and killed himself. WRAL is working to learn the condition of the victims in this case this morning. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Wilson County.
And this morning, there is still some flooding in lakes and rivers after the rainfall from Debbie. Several parks in our area are closed today because of this, including Jordan Lake. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey was there this morning.
Right now, this do not enter sign is out front of Jordan Lake Recreation Area. The closure was prolonged because of high water levels. You may have heard our forecast a little bit earlier that talked about how we're under another flood watch. People have not been able to access the walking trails. You can see a dock there underwater. Falls Lake and Carr Lake recreation areas are also closed today. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is watching water levels. Jordan Lake is expected to crest today or tomorrow. Then the flood water will recede. At that point, officials can start releasing some of the water. State parks will continue to monitor those flooding levels. They could reopen these recreation areas as early as this Wednesday. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at Jordan Lake.
The community of Lakama is in the cleanup phase after that EF3 tornado last week. Some people in the community, such as Elizabeth Gray, are helping to supply meals to families that have been impacted.
I'm very thankful for the churches and families that have really come alongside, to sign up. I've been contacted by a couple of the commissioners here in Lucama to show their support as well. So I would say it's going very well.
The community is pitching in more than just food. Gray says a couple of local churches brought in between 75 and 100 people to help work and clear debris. Community helping community. Love that. Durham Public Schools will have new leadership starting today. The new superintendent, Anthony Lewis, will begin his duties. Lewis was appointed to the role in June. The district's former superintendent stepped down during those protests over salary issues that closed schools multiple times this past spring. He was previously a superintendent in Lawrence, Kansas, and we are expected to hear from the new superintendent this morning about his official first day. And we will share what he says on air and on WRAL.com. A man is in the hospital and another man is dead after a shooting in Durham. I want to show you right now here on your screen from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker this video on North Roxborough Street and West Club Boulevard early yesterday morning. Investigators say someone shot two men just after 1 in the morning. One man was pronounced dead at the scene and another was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Former President Donald Trump will be back in North Carolina this week. He's going to make a campaign stop at Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville. That's on Wednesday. The Trump campaign says the economy will be the focus of that event. J.D. Vance's Raleigh event that was postponed ahead of Tropical Storm Debbie has not been rescheduled, though. And we're waiting to learn when Vice President Kamala Harris will make her stop in North Carolina. She postponed her Raleigh visit last Thursday again because of Tropical Storm Debbie. And this afternoon, Governor Roy Cooper will give an update on a state plan to reduce medical debt. He'll hold a press conference with State Health Department Secretary Cody Kinsley. Last month, the federal government approved a state plan to use Medicaid dollars to incentivize hospitals to help low and middle income families. Governor Cooper says this plan has the potential to relieve about $4 billion in debt for about 2 million people across the state. Just a heads up for people who drive in eastern Wake County, a bridge there will close for 2 weeks starting today. The State Department of Transportation says teams will be starting construction on Mile Plantation Road, that is the bridge over Neuse River. It's expected to be closed until August 26th. A detour will be in effect, and drivers are urged to drive in the area with caution. And Tropical Storm Debbie produced 7 tornadoes in our area last week. Meteorologist Chris Michaels joins us now to talk about the very specific process the National Weather Service goes through to rate these twisters.
Yeah, they had a lot on their plate just after Thursday. And what they do when they get to a scene is they look for what's called damage indicators. What's been damaged? There are 28 different types that go from softwood trees to entire buildings. And then they see the degree of damage that's done. There's 8 different types of those. And sometimes that depends on the structural integrity. So they provide ground analysis, radar analysis. They also use drones to kind of see the damage pattern. And from there, they get that EF rating, something that was revised in 2007. And you see how that goes from 0 to 5. The strongest that we had in our area was, of course, that EF3 in Wilson County. But there were 6 others, 3 of which were in Franklin County. Most of those were EF0 to EF1. There was an EF2 last Wednesday in Sampson County. But all across the state, 10 twisters. On average, we see 28 per year. This storm alone produced more than a third of that. So if you ever have questions about the weather, for instance, how do tornadoes get rated, make sure you send me an email, cmichaels@WRAL.com. Not tracking tornadoes today, but meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is breaking down our storm chances coming up in just a bit.
All right, we'll see her in just a bit. The Olympic flame is extinguished and Los Angeles is looking to reach the bar that Paris set with this year's games. Swimmer Katie Ledecky and rower Nick Mead represented Team USA as flag bearers for the closing ceremony. Los Angeles' mayor received a handoff of the Olympic flag, and then, there we go, Tom Cruise just descending from the stadium roof to retrieve it from her and Simone Biles. He then hopped on a motorcycle and started a pre-recorded journey to the host games of the 2028 games there in Los Angeles. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Billie Eilish, and Snoop Dogg were all a part of that pre-recorded performance. Team USA brought home some more gold before the closing ceremony. Naturally, the U.S. women's basketball team beat France in a nail-biter. The final score, 67-66. But get this, this is the team's 8th consecutive Olympic gold medal. All right, so let's take a look at the final medal count. The United States coming out on top with the most amount of combined gold, silver, and bronze medals. Team USA tied with China for the number of gold medals with 40. The Americans also came away with 44 silver and 42 bronze, totaling 126 medals. China, who had the second most medals, trailed behind with 91. Great Britain won 65, and France got 64, with Australia winning 53 medals. You know, you really can't talk about the Olympics in Los Angeles without talking about the city's greatest athlete. How Los Angeles is paying tribute to Kobe Bryant's legacy for the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. Plus, Disney is adding to its list of legends. These are the people who they are crediting building the company into what it is. Taking a look right now live at White Lake. Kind of looks like the opening shot of a horror film, just based off of the grim look of the sky that we have there as you're watching WRAL News. Not really a horror story today, but, just definitely a little active in some parts of our viewing area.
Yeah, we had this cell develop around 5 a.m. West of our viewing area and then just sort of track across our southern counties. And just about 5 minutes ago, the Weather Service dropped this warning. It's still showing up on the graphic, but they have expired the warning there for Sampson County. But this was definitely an interesting one. It had a lot of lightning with it. It had a history of producing some hail. We haven't technically had any wind damage with this, but definitely looking at some considerable activity with it. Let's switch our systems over to weather 3. It's been a long morning out there, but let's go to weather 3, and we'll zoom in here across the area, and you can see what was happening here. This is where the latest view of you can see where it expired. And we did have some hail with it. I was hoping more of that would show up. I looked at it a second ago. It was still kind of showing up, so you could see how we just didn't end up. We started to see that really dissipating nicely. But it started over here west of Moore County. Boy, the lightning was really intense across parts of Pinehurst, all the way into the northern part of Cumberland County. So real dangerous lightning and some hail. We had some hail reports there across parts of Hoke County and into Cumberland County. And you could see that it's definitely weakened, but it's still there. So heading into Roseboro and southward there in Sampson County. But 3 hours, it's rare that we have a cell like that hold together for 3 hours. And thanks to Christopher Lowry in Southern Pines for sending us that picture of the hail in his backyard. We did see a good bit of that. Also, a lot of heavy rain with this too. This encompasses the last 24 hours. So it does include rain that we saw last night and this morning, but almost 2 inches in Southern Pines and in the northern part of Hoke County. Around Fayetteville, about 2 inches. 4 inches, look at that, in the northern part of Robeson County, about an inch or so near the central part of Sampson County, around just north and east of that, about an inch and a half. So it was a lot of rain in the last 24 hours. So we do have a flood watch in effect still for that area, and the potential for a low to medium risk of flooding as we get the potential for more storms later today, and that severe level 1 risk as we did have the potential for some wind damage. And we saw some hail. Things should quiet down now for a bit, but then say later in the afternoon, we may see a few scattered cells pop up. We're not going to see a lot of widespread storms today, but we'll have a better chance tomorrow. A disturbance drops in on us. You can see at 5 o'clock Tuesday, better chance of some scattered storms. Here's a look at Clinton. It is raining in Clinton. Clinton sort of dodged the heaviest part of that cell, but definitely some rain there. Temperatures in the mid 70s as folks are headed out the door. We'll see a high of 89. That'll be one of the warmest days that we see this week. It's a little bit cooler the next few days, and that chance of storms on Tuesday. A bit more comfortable by the middle of the week, and hoping for at least a little bit of a drop in our humidity.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Former President Donald Trump will sit down for an interview with Elon Musk today. This conversation will happen on the X social media platform, which Elon Musk owns. Musk endorsed Trump for president after the assassination attempt on his life last month. Musk said that his conversation with Trump will be live, it'll be unscripted, and no topics will be off limits. He urged people to submit questions and comments under the chat. Several prominent Democratic figures are set to speak at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago next week. Presidents Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have been named as speakers. NBC also reports that former President Jimmy Carter's grandson, Jason Carter, will be speaking, representing his grandfather. The convention is scheduled for August 19th through the 22nd. Cancer-causing chemicals inches beneath a local park.
My kid plays on that old playground and runs around, and I had no idea until you told me.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, WRAL investigates hundreds of old landfill sites across the state, including one at a popular Raleigh park. What's being done to clean them up, and why doesn't the public know about them? We'll talk about that at 6 o'clock. Family and friends of Wake County Deputy Ned Byrd honored his life this weekend. They hosted a series of his favorite activities. The third annual Ned Byrd Memorial Triathlon was comprised of CrossFit, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and mountain biking. Byrd was killed while on the way to canine training on August 11, 2022. He pulled over a truck to investigate it on the side of the road and was shot 4 times. Organizers say the event is their way of showing up for a man who always showed up for them.
I think the reason you see all the people here today is because Ned always showed up for people. And it almost wasn't until his passing and everyone showed up for his funeral that we realized You know, Ned was that guy who you called him once and he showed up, and he showed up for everybody.
A lot of people say he was a great guy. Brothers Arturo and Alder Marin Sotelo are charged with Bird's murder. Los Angeles is paying tribute to its greatest sport icon for the 2028 Olympics. The city unveiled a custom LA 28 emblem that honors NBA legend Kobe Bryant. The emblem was designed by his wife Vanessa and features his Mamba logo. Bryant was a longtime advocate for bringing the games to Los Angeles. He was a two-time Olympic gold medalist. Movies starring Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively battled for the box office this weekend. It Ends With Us, starring Lively, came in second place behind the new Deadpool movie with an estimated $50 million. Variety reports that it is the first time since 1990 that a husband and wife shared the top two spots at the box office. The last time that happened, it was Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2 and Demi Moore's Ghost. Freakier Friday is the movie that's coming out from Disney. They are working on that right now. It's adding to its cast, and the Killers are announcing their Las Vegas residency. Here's Rick Demigella with the Hollywood Minute.
Excuse me, ma'am. Casting news, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan reveal their Freakier Friday co-star. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, the on-screen mother-daughter duo announced Manny Jacinto will play Lohan's husband in the upcoming sequel. New music from The Killers. The Las Vegas-born band has released the song Bright Lights ahead of their sold-out hometown residency at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, kicking off Wednesday.
Are you seeing this? We got twins!
And recent theatrical fare heading to home video this week includes the digital release of Twisters, plus the physical media versions of If, starring Ryan Reynolds, and Austin Butler in The Bike Riders. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
The most magical place in the world is expanding. Disney is planning to bring new rides, lands, and shows to its parks in Florida and California. Fans of Disney World in Florida can expect a new Villains Land at Magic Kingdom. A new Cars-themed attraction will also make its debut at Frontierland. California's Disneyland will debut a Coco ride at California Adventure, as well as new experiences for the Avengers and Avatar. Disney says fans can expect all of those new attractions to arrive in the park within the next 5 years. Miley Cyrus became the youngest ever Disney legend during a D23 fan event yesterday. Lainey Wilson introduced Cyrus with a performance of her breakout song, Best of Both Worlds. Cyrus says that she is still proud to have been Hannah Montana and dedicated the award to Hannah and all of her fans. There's just some memories you cannot forget. That's the case for a 93-year-old Wisconsin man who won silver in the 1956 Olympics. John Bennett earned silver in the long jump. He jumped more than 26 feet when he was 26 years old, and a few years ago, he was diagnosed with dementia. His family says that the memories are still with him today. They aren't the everyday ones. They're those of the Olympics. And now, more than 65 years later, Bennett and his wife are happily married and happily retired. Wishing them the best life in their golden years. Before we go to break, here are the winning lottery numbers, just in case you forgot them from yesterday, August 11th. And we're going to get you another check on weather and traffic up next.